Good evening. That breaking news. Angela Rayner used £160,000 from a trust set up to care for her disabled son to buy the £800,000 seafront flat at the centre of a monumental sleaze inquiry. Angela Rayner has to go. And if she won't go, Keir Starmer has to sack her. Angela Rayner today admitted that she didn't pay enough stamp duty on her second home.
I have alerted and referred myself to the independent advisor on the ministerial code to ensure that they can look transparently at what's happened, and also contacted HMRC to say that there is additional tax owing on this and that I'm prepared to pay that and fully comply with the HMRC as well.
Here is Keir Starmer when he was leader of the opposition.
Does the Prime Minister agree that any politician who seeks to avoid the taxes they owe in this country is not fit to be in charge of taxpayer money?
Here he is again.
So whilst they're asking other people to pay more in tax, they seem to be involved in schemes to keep their own tax down, and this is now a pattern of behaviour. What I want from the Prime Minister is an assurance as to whether other members of the Cabinet have been using these schemes to reduce their tax.
Yeah, gosh. I mean, I know how you feel. There's no two ways about it. Angela Rayner has misbehaved, hasn't she? Well, what did the Prime Minister say he'd do if someone misbehaved?
Mr. Speaker, here's the difference. When somebody in my party misbehaves, I kick them out.
Well, he hasn't kicked Miss Rayner out. In fact, today, he said he was really proud of her.
But I can be clear, I am very proud to sit alongside a Deputy Prime Minister who is building 1.5 million homes, who is bringing the biggest upgrade to workers' rights in a generation, and who's come from a working class background to be Deputy Prime Minister of this country.
I do wonder what people of a working class background would make of the new reports that Angela Rayner used her disabled son's NHS compensation to buy a second home. I mean, it's quite astonishing, that, really. But let's be fair to Angela Rayner. Here is what she claims happened.
Advice that I relied upon didn't pick that up. The leading tax counsel, who has subsequently looked at it, has gone into that and has said that actually because of that, it did remain my sole property. And the trust wasn't set up, as accusations have been made, for me to try and flip or dodge tax or anything of that nature. No, the trust was set up by a court to provide for my son after an injury.
OK, all right. Well, very, very sorry, obviously, about her son's issue. When Dominic Cummings was Boris Johnson's chief in Downing Street and he claimed that he went off back to the North East for the sake of his kids' health, Keir Starmer was ruthless.
The government's argument is that Dominic Cummings was doing what was right for his family to make sure that his child had appropriate childcare if he fell ill. Is that not a reasonable excuse? Would you do the same?
That's not a reasonable interpretation of the rules, and the Prime Minister knows it. And millions of people have not done the same. That's why this is such an important issue. Millions haven't done that, and he has done it. One rule for the Prime Minister's advisers, another rule for everybody else.
He actually went even further than that. Let's have a look at this.
If I were Prime Minister, I'd have sacked Cummings.
All right. Well, in fact, he's always called for Prime Ministers to sack members of their cabinet if they do wrong, slagging off Boris Johnson for not sacking Dominic Raab.
Raab said, depending on the findings of the report, he would resign. He has now resigned. He's done the right thing, hasn't he?
Well, the big question for the Prime Minister is why he was so weak to appoint him in the first place. The second question for the Prime Minister is why he didn't sack him. And now it's left to Dominic Raab to resign, and the Prime Minister hasn't acted. And it's that indecision, it's that weakness, I think, that goes to the heart, not just of this Prime Minister, but of 13 years now of failure.
The left are savage, they are brutal, they are merciless. If someone messes up, they want them sacked, gone, unemployed, cancelled. They should never work again. They should live in disgrace. When Boris Johnson quit, Angela Rayner herself was all over the news, slagging him off on the way out.
I think it's an absolute disgrace and, you know, good riddance. He shouldn't have been in Parliament in the first place. A man like that has no business being anywhere near the Prime Minister's office.
Angela Rayner has repeatedly posted on social media talking about how it's one rule for those in power and one rule for everybody else. She's done it loads and loads and loads of times. In fact, she's actually said it out loud.
There's one rule for them and one rule for all of us.
Quite. Well, she said that tax avoidance costs lives. She claims that she had incorrect legal advice. Well, that may be so, but come on then, let's see it. Where is it? Look at the number the establishment media are trying to do on this. She did a cosy little interview with her friend Beth Rigby at Sky News, who then went on telly and told everyone how emotional Miss Rayner was.
You could see a Deputy Prime Minister, normally extremely robust. Angela Rayner in that interview visibly upset, holding back the tears as she talked about her family arrangements.
Right, well, boo-hoo. The fact is, Labour are asking us to be much kinder to them and Angela Rayner than they have ever been about anyone else. So they can swivel as far as I'm concerned. I'm afraid that Angela Rayner is getting a taste now of her own medicine. Goodbye.